Hey everybody, Nullface here. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Twilight Lands and Eternal Evolution. Now, I did manage to get through it, I guess early last week at this point. Unfortunately, I have not had time to do much content about it since then due to some crazy stuff going on at work, but I wanted to come back and go through the few of the stages that I completed, kind of show a few interesting things that happened throughout the later ones here. I did manage to take fourth place, fortunately, so that's pretty awesome. Waiting to collect my summoner prototype at this point, another few days here. Also grab some more of these hyper evolution crystals that should be useful in the pretty near future. That was much better than expected. Was super happy to get through it, grab all the prototypes and stuff along the way. It was an awesome run. So we'll take a look at a few of the stages along the way, mostly through some screenshots that I took. So here, this was 1310. This was an energy boss. Just wanted to kind of draw attention to I actually used Crete in this fight instead of Leo. Not that Leo doesn't work. I used him for the same boss at the end of 15. You'll see that run at the end, but Crete was just easier. The way I did this one was I jumped him over those birds. God, I hate those birds. I just jumped over the two birds and left him in the corner, and that pointed them away from the team the whole time. It was very much like a good old fashioned World of Warcraft EverQuest 2 raid fight. Tank points the boss away, and team does the damage. Brought Sorietta for multi-hit because I don't have Nautilus built out yet, and then Ravenna and Daniel to do the damage. And you can see they did pretty good damage between the two of them. They nuked that stage down fairly quickly. So Crete was really just an easier option. Leo tends to ult through the birds, and you kind of have to manual him to keep him in line. So by using Crete, I just plopped him in the corner, let him do his tank thing, and that was that. Next up, I want to talk about again, bird stages. So when they're the efficient lineups mini boss, something I didn't notice until it was pointed out in the HH Discord, so I wanted to share the info too. The birds do AoEs every roughly 12 seconds. So you can see timestamp here 249, which is when I always saw the first one come out. So it's possible the ability is on like a 10-second timer with a 1.5-second animation or something along those lines. I don't know exactly, but you can see the thing is coming out right here. This is the exact moment Taylor died. So you got the animation coming out there. It is also affected by positioning. They do seem to have to be still to do it, because you can see here at 248, getting another one coming across the team, which fortunately Rez was able to avoid. I guess that's the one that killed Taylor. All right. And then the next one coming out here at 236, and so on and so forth. So this came up again in 14.7, and these are just shots from my previous video. So the way I was able to get past it was actually using this team here. After probably at least an hour of trying, I managed to get the timing just right with Leo, where he would ult through to one side. You hold for just a second until it's the right time, and then when the birds start to wind up, you ult back through them, and you just kind of do that. It is a knife's edge fight the whole time. It took many tries to get the timing right. Also had to bring in Bada. Now in this run, she is elite 1-star, still purple, but she had energy, and Leah was not full health. What I needed was for him to be at full health. I could not get the timing right with his passive because I needed to use that, I believe, on the third or fourth set of AoEs. Just couldn't sustain him anymore. So I needed his passive to be up then, and without him being topped off right away, it was getting popped at the beginning. So I said, sorry, Serena, you're a much better overall healer right now with the evolution levels on Bada, but she had what I needed, which was a full ult right at the beginning of the fight. So had her heal him up, and then Ravenna and Luke just did the damage, and after a lot of tries, a lot of screaming, a little bit of crying later, managed to get through the stage, which was which is pretty good. Next up after that, of note, was the 15-4 mini boss. This was another energy blob, the red energy boss, but no tank. So the teams that beat me ahead of it teams that beat it ahead of me, rather, if I could talk, that'd be helpful. Uh, Actually had Bada up here as the tank effectively, but again, mine's not evolved high enough to be useful for that, so I use Serena. Since they spawn the blobs on the tank, Bada's a fantastic choice. They'll spawn them on her. She'll take the damage, she'll ult herself, she'll pull them all in even closer just to group them up. Leo works on the earlier stages when you can just kind of kill the blobs wherever, but as he ults around the map, he does tend to kind of leave trails, and if they get too far away, you can't hit them and AoE them all down. So having a stationary tank, Krita's also not great here because he jumps around so much. But the stationary tank worked really, really well. Managed to get through the stage. Again, there's the team. Had Ravenna and Luke and Daniel for damage, and I think it only took a couple of tries. I may have lost Serena once, but she's in Abundant set with damage reduction boots. She's pretty tanky, and it worked out really well. Then last one, this was in, again, chapter 15, stage 7 was a CC bond. And the kind of one of note here was Randall. I had originally brought in Leo and Crete for more pain rune shields, as you can see the theme, right? Bailey down here too. Bailey actually did quite a bit of work in here. But Crete was too disruptive to the fight. He kept pushing one of the oaks one way, and then one would just kind of go wherever, and it really didn't work that well. Love Crete, great hero. Sometimes he messes up the positioning so much that his cons outweigh the pros there. So brought in Randall, and he didn't do a lot of damage, but he did survive long enough that his shields were useful. So he survived until the boss died. His passive from talents negated the hits from the oaks. Words I never thought I would say, but those guys hit for like 1 to 1.5 million with their attacks. So his talent passive was useful there. Kind of negated those at the cost of his energy. Still got the pain rune shields out there. He's built kind of tanky. So it didn't do a lot of damage, and also when I lost him, it didn't really matter because I didn't need him for other stages. So those were some of the learnings along the way. There was another mini boss. It was 14-4. I think it was the lightning horse. Was able to take the shields down no problem, but just couldn't survive the damage from the Sorietta and Omar there. So that took a couple of days to get through. But there was nothing really critical about the fight. Nothing really there. It's just I didn't have the power to deal with those guys yet. So hopefully next time around. That was all that I had here. So we'll cut over to the videos of 1510. It was a pretty lengthy fight, quite a few tries, quite a few team comps, but did finally manage to down it within one roster. So let y'all watch that, and hopefully get some good info from it. So for this fight, we're using Hagridon with +2 Leo ult and Flowing Rune for the energy heroes here. That helps a lot, at least early on when there still are multiple targets to hit. And just recovering ults faster, so I can go ahead and get a cycle out right here at the start and still have enough by the time the ad pops up. It's a pretty slow fight. This took a lot of tries. Also, just to get the bird positioning right, because your Leo ult has to be pretty precisely positioned, or they'll either peel off of him and go attack the front line, or they'll still be ulting the birds will still be hitting into the team. Here, typical stuff, just saved all the ults save the Sorietta ult for that. Always try to maximize the damage. Luke I could have probably left on auto. I just wanted to make sure he always hit what I wanted him to, which was the main boss. Ravenna's enough to kill that. I'm hoping next time around, Nautilus will just be able to nuke the ad down himself. He won't have the Sorietta issue there where he needs help to kill it. Just be able to use Ravenna's ult over all of it. I also know there is a way to group all 4 of them together to get the dragon to basically move over between the 2 birds and the ad, but I have not figured out how to do that yet. Just wanted to drop them down so we can get the dragon into the vulnerable state, and let Ravenna do some really good damage to it. Again, Flowing Rune kind of coming in clutch here to make sure her ult is back up in time. Although to be fair, her ult comes back up a lot more quickly than most. Gotta remember to keep ulting Leo. Everything's on manual here. And I've been at this for, 20-30 minutes already, just trying different teams, a couple of ones with Crete. I know I'd mentioned Crete for 1310. He was not durable enough for this stage. I could not get him to live anywhere near this long. He'd usually die around, I want to say 50 or 60%. So it wasn't quite what I was hoping to get out of this. But again, just, repeat a couple of times, holding ults, trying to maximize damage from each of them. There's probably some stuff I can do with positioning. Like if I put Luke up where Sorietta is, potentially I could hit all four of them. I didn't really try that option, but maybe next time. Also running the healing for Masrani, Horn of Healing, just because it has a little bit more time, and when you are running just one, it helps. So here we've got just another round of ults. Special, waiting for him to pop back up, some of that ad. That Bone Spur move that he does is getting to be a little bit more potent here. Sorietta, I think, lasts another round or two, but that's about it. He does it right before he summons the ad. That's the hard single target hit. That one right there. So once you start to take that much damage, I think I put Sorietta in damage reduction boots for this. It's the only way to get them to live long enough to get through this round of the boss. Go ahead and repeat. Hands probably pretty shaky. I just watched that Sorietta not do much damage. No crits in there. Doesn't have the best gear, simply because I needed them to live long enough. Now, this part of the fight, after this I'm no longer able to utilize Flowing Rune, which is kind of unfortunate. Probably play around with some other options. Perhaps the reward from this, actually, the Ring of Greed, would be a better one. Just because it remains functional when there are no longer 3 targets, right? That's the thing about Pain Rune, or not Pain Rune, Flowing Rune. You need to have 3 targets to hit to get the energy back for it. See, Ravenna's been full for a little bit anyway, so it's probably fine. And that's the positioning there with Luke, where you can actually hit both of them. So yeah, I probably should have had him up there the whole time, but it helped a little bit. And there goes Sorietta. Right, always happens right before. I saved his ult though. Leo in the area. I'll just use his multi-hit to knock the shields down just a little bit more. Getting close to the end here though. Can't tell without the multi-hits from Sorietta, it's a lot harder to drop that shield. And there goes Luke, just one of the dragon AoEs. Now just seeing what more damage we can get from this group before I lose them. I should have done this. I was not thinking about the Bone Spur move coming around before the next ad. I should have just ulted here. It turns out it didn't really make a difference in the end, but it would have been better to just get a little bit more damage out. Because he's going to spawn the ad, and then one-shot Ravenna before the ad shield pops up. And there she goes. That's pretty much the end of the first part here. Leo, of course, manages to survive the AoE of instant annihilation from the ad, but that's pretty much it. Now the second team here, I'm running Gautier because he has +2 Crete ult, just for a little bit more out of that. And Soaring Medallion, because the Hunter damage by themselves is not enough to take out the ad very easily. I'm also bringing in Daniel, because he's just so good. The versatility is really solid with him. He has good AoE, so he can actually hit both targets at once. His ult is a multi-hit, so it helps. And in this one, You'll see I take the shield down really quickly, of course, because Emma and Azina, but the ad continues to live because we don't have that damage bonus versus summoned creatures anymore. So even with the big hits, it does not die the first time around here. And that did get me the first time. So the adaptation I made was actually, and you'll see here in a second, I just drop Daniel's ult right away. I don't wait for the shield again. That just gave a little bit more damage. It came up pretty quickly afterwards regardless, but just keep dropping his ult as soon as it's ready. Once you get down to this point, you know, you're pretty good. You're gonna drop the ad, and then the boss will be down. He'll take a whole bunch of damage. And that was that for 1510. Take a look at these awesome rewards coming up here. Ooh, yeah, that was definitely worth it for that stage. So yeah, that was pretty much it for my run through Twilight. Was a good experience. I hope that they make some of the rewards a little bit more accessible. I think as time goes on, it's going to get harder and harder to make it into the top 10 to get those Triple S Hyper Evo crystals. It's just, I'm not sure how it's going to scale. I'm myself in Eastern time, so this opens at 4 a.m., 4 or 5, depending on daylight savings, and I'm not wild about getting up and trying to push to see how far I can get right away. So I guess we'll see how the subsequent runs go. Should definitely be able to complete it from here on out, though. Roster's only going to get stronger, but it was a good run. Tons of awesome rewards, a lot of hero gains along the way. It was really great to see the advancement of the roster from the start to finish. Levels keep going up. I now have Pregor at Immortal, working on Nautilus next. Just so much good stuff from Twilight. So it was a good season. Hopefully some good info. Hopefully this helps the rest of you get through as many stages as you can and push just a little bit harder. So thank you for watching. Take care.